Hey there Facebook, it is Vanessa here again, your motivational speaker, trainer and head coach from Live, Love, Give. And today's message is one that I wanted to bring to you guys, particularly if you are faced with a decision in your life right now, because I'm absolutely hearing from so many of you. You always are asking me questions about how do I know the right decision to make. And that's why I wanted to bring today's message to you, because ultimately I just want to reinforce the idea to you and make you, remember it every single time you are faced with a decision, that whenever you make a decision from a place of fear, it is always the wrong decision. So never, ever, ever rush into a decision or feel pressured into a decision, because if it comes from that place of fear, then you know that it's doomed to fail. And so this is what I wanted to reinforce to you guys. But ultimately, when you are faced with a decision, slow down, particularly if it is within a subject range where it is a challenging one. Maybe there's other people involved, maybe it is a situation that ultimately taps into your deepest, darkest fears, that you're not lovable, that you're not good enough, all of those things that really put us into that state of fear. And ultimately slow down and have a process that will get you back to a loving, centered, authentic place before you go for it and make that decision. And so I love all of you guys joining me here today. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, drop them below right now so that I can engage with you after I've finished sort of talking into this for you guys. But ultimately, I actually just picked up my Date with Destiny book and I was just flicking through it and I was like, oh, what should I talk into today? And that just stuck out for me. Really thinking more about how whenever we are faced with a decision or anything in life, we are either coming from a place of love or we are coming from a place of fear. Those are the two umbrellas that everything kind of fall under. And ultimately, whenever we make a decision or we take an action from that place of fear, we can guarantee that it is not aligned with the truth of who we are, and it's not tapping into our full capacity as a human being, and it's definitely not using courage in terms of getting a great result, and one that will ultimately lead us to a new level of our potential. Whenever we go from that place of fear, we are jeopardizing that journey that we can be on in terms of reaching a new level of our potential, because we are overvaluing the judgments, criticisms, opinions in the external world over and above our internal wisdom. And when we can get out of that way of being, because that ultimately is a very default kind of way of living life. It's trying to protect against what we could be faced with in the external. But ultimately, we only choose fear because we are not trusting within ourselves, and in particular in our ability to handle the judgments, criticisms, all of it that will inevitably come to us when we step out and step into our true authentic selves. But once you have a taste of what it feels like to really come from that loving, centered, authentic place within you, and you make a decision from that place, I guarantee you will feel such a sense of certainty, probably the highest level of certainty and conviction, internal conviction that you've ever felt in your life, when you can step forth with courage and fully align with that loving decision, with that truthful, authentic decision that comes from that internal wisdom. And I'm always saying what Dr. Demartini says, because it resonates so strongly with me, but he says that, that you need to turn down the voices in the external, the judgments, opinions, and the voices in the external world. You turn down that volume and you turn up the volume on your internal wisdom, and you align with that from that place. And you guys who've been following me for a while, you absolutely know that my story, when I had gone through my entire life and ultimately living to the expectations, or my perception of the expectations of those closest to me in my family. And all of us go through that, all of us go through that as children. We look to our external in order to decipher and decide what's right, what's wrong, what direction should I take. But when we realize that all of that is stemming from our deepest fear that all of us hold, which is that I'm not good enough in some way, and then ultimately that deeper than that is that I won't be loved, I'm not lovable. And so if we know that, and we know as children we have to sort of start in that way of overvaluing the voices in the external in order to get direction, work out things for our own selves. But at some point we need to make the transition out of the external into the internal. And this is one that not many, I have to say, I don't think many people really navigate this. They continue to live in their full existence in conjunction with what they're hearing or observing or feeling as though is expected of them from the external internal. And that is coming from fear, because you're so concerned about not being loved or liked or approved of that you have to align with whatever you think is going to get you that approval and that love. And ultimately at the end of the day, it's sacrificing your truth if you haven't discovered what your truth is and you don't have anything to align with. So ultimately you're going to go on a path that is unfulfilling. You might have moments in time where you do experience joy and happiness and love and excitement and all those great emotional states, but it's fleeting because you've put the power in some external or many external sources instead of identifying, who am I? What matters most to me? What do I deem to be an extraordinary quality of life? Who do I deem to be my highest self? What are my highest values? And what inspires me most? If I could create it, envision it, really, identify what that is and create it, move toward it in my life. Until you get those answers, you're going to continue on a journey of making your decisions from a place built of fear in the external world, instead of having the greatest filtering process you could ever expect to have in your life, which is to know who you are and to fully align with what matters most to you as an individual. What is your internal conviction about an extraordinary quality of life and being an extraordinary human being? Nobody else gets to decide that for you. You can't keep handballing that responsibility to the external world if you expect to be happy. And so I'm absolutely hoping that this message reinforces to you that you're either coming from a place of love or fear, and fear is always focused on the external and overvaluing the judgments, opinions, and voices in the external world. And love is always strong and centered internally. It knows who it is. It knows what the highest thing to do is. It's not operating from a place of likability in the external world. It is absolutely aligning with the truth of what it knows to be right, and operating in alignment from that place. And when you go on that journey, you will absolutely find that you finally open yourself up for the very thing that you were chasing when you followed the external voices, which was love. Nobody can love the true you if you are not being the true you. And you cannot be the true you if you are just overvaluing the voices in the external and trying to be a certain way in order to get that love. And even if they do love you for operating in their realm, you're always going to have this deep-seated feeling that they don't know the real you. They don't love the real you because you're not showing the real you. And so when you can recognize that, you suddenly can have such a greater sense of courage to feel the fear and do it anyway. Because ultimately, when you go on that self-discovery journey, you can identify with something that you can actually align with. And I'm telling you right now, I know from personal experience that when you actually get that clarity on the internal world and you know who you are, and you finally give yourself permission to discover those answers for yourself, you can't help but align with it no matter what the repercussions in the external world. And to just give anybody who's new, who doesn't know my story, that I couldn't have made the transition out from a life that I felt was expected of me, that I was totally didn't know what I was doing and I didn't like it. And I was a year and a half out from being a lawyer. I'd finished a business degree because I felt it was expected of me, and I never fully gave myself permission to discover what it was that I wanted to do. And ultimately, when I came to that discovery and I finally asked myself, what do I want to do? Without any filters in the external, I had such a level of conviction and clarity and certainty within that I could handle what was coming at me, and it did. What I thought was going to come at me came at me tenfold. All my deepest fears and worst fears from the people closest to me, they all came true. But you know what? I learned so much, because when we learn to discover what our truth is and we fully align with that, we up level our ability to handle what comes at us in the external. It is only when you are not coming from that strong, centered, aligned, authentic place that anything in the external, that can all shake you off path. But when you fully align with your truth, nothing can, because you suddenly see the fears of others for their own fears, and you do not make them mean something about who you are, because you're too internally centered with your truth and you know what's right for you. And I absolutely wish that for every single one of you guys out there. I don't think that there is any greater sense of strength and just beauty than being in alignment with your true authentic self. And I really feel that we are all constantly growing, evolving, and changing. Who you were a year ago is different to who you are today, and it's totally different to who you'll be in 5 years from now. We have to be constantly focused on discovering a new layer of our authenticity and aligning with what we discover. And that is true freedom to me. That ultimately is how we really go the depths of love and how we really experience freedom. So hoping that today's message is absolutely resonating with you beautiful human beings out there. Before I check in with you guys, which I can't wait, I always love seeing who's been able to join me. And if you have any questions, you guys know I love just being hit with questions, random. I love it. So go for it. And definitely, if you haven't already, please come on over and join us in the Limitless Potential Inner Circle Facebook community. We are just edging. We're almost at 3,000. I reckon we're going to hit 3,000 today. A beautiful human beings who are absolutely striving for a new level of their potential. They are some of the best quality of people I have come across, because they are absolutely focused on their own personal growth, but even better still, contributing and making a difference in the lives of others. And they want to support, encourage, and challenge you to reach a new level of your potential, because your success is our success and our success is yours. So definitely going to check in with you guys and see who's been able to join. I've got Jamie and Gunter and Alonia and Adrian and Robert and Jessica and Michael and Madeline and Cinda and Sam and Jose and Judy, and I'm loving that you're loving this, Sam. And Jamantis, hey to you. And Daryl and Sam, yes, fear limits me. Absolutely. Fear is just a massive limitation that only love and truth and authenticity can fully bust through. So go on that journey of self-discovery and align with everything that you find in your internal world as your highest self. Love that, Sam. And Gary's here, and Jessica, loving that you're finding today's message great. And Chris and Jed and Merlin, loving that this is resonating with you. And David and Jed, so relevant to every human on this earth. I'm grateful that you're seeing that, Jed. Thank you so much. And Sam, self-alignment is powerful. Absolutely. The most powerful thing that we can do is align with the truth of who we are. Absolutely. And Alexandria and Nikki and Irfan, I'm sorry I can't probably pronounce that right, but hello to you. And Jared's here, and Sam, true, you feel so good in the body just sinking into it. Absolutely. And Subirth, absolutely right. I'm loving that this is resonating. And Elf's here. And Jason, how do you fully align? Okay, so great question, and thank you so much for your question there, Jason. So what I would say to you is that you need to go on a journey of self-discovery by asking yourself quality questions so that you can get quality answers. And I'm telling you that it's easy to align when you tap into your truth. When you make a discovery that is so truthful to who you are at your core, you can't help but align to it. It's just the process. You suddenly have this inner knowing and strength that gives you the courage to deal with the repercussions in the external world that yourself before you made the discovery was too frightened to make the change, even if it did know deep down. You always have the answers within you. It's just a matter of you having the courage to ask yourself those questions. And when you make the discovery and you have that level of internal conviction and certainty of your truth, you can't help but align with the answers that you discover. But if you would like any extra guidance on that, Jason, please come on over into the Limitless Potential group. We can start a discussion on that and definitely help you further with that. Appreciate you. And Ashish is here, and Madeline. Much love to you, you beautiful human being. And Maria, this is excellent. I'm loving that you're finding this excellent. And Stavros is here. And Alf, good morning, beautiful souls. May you all enjoy the beautiful day ahead with love in your heart and forward abundance of all you desire. Thank you so much, Alf. We absolutely appreciate you, your kindness, and your words of wisdom. Thanks for your presence here. And Sam, true freedom. Yes, thank you for teaching that. Absolutely. Authenticity equals freedom. And I'm not going to go into it too deeply today, but I'm going to do a Facebook Live for you guys in a major discovery that I found at Date with Destiny, where we discovered totally what our current set of values are, and then we shifted them. We created a new set of values, and at the beginning, I'll just give you a hint because I'm going to dive into this in the coming days, but my top value was for freedom. And Tony Robbins spoke into why that freedom on your list of values is absolutely a no-no, and it was a real eye-opener for me, so I can't wait to share that with you guys. But ultimately, I find that authenticity is so up there for me, and that is my way of freedom, because when you are fully authentic and aligned with the truth of who you are, you not only have a sense of freedom, but you also have an ability to truly build depth of connection or love in your life, which is ultimately why we're all here. At the end of the day, if we wipe everything we want, everything we desire, it all leads down to love. And so absolutely, I can't wait to share more of that in terms of freedom and what brings that about, and how to shift our values so that they're much more freeing and not so limiting. So thanks so much, Sam. And Gabrielle's here, and another Alexandra, love it. And Ram's here, and David and Gabrielle. Fear plays tricks on you, and it's always limiting. Absolutely. And I think that fear gets such a bad rap, right? So we want to avoid our fears. But I don't know, everybody who's been following me for a while now, you absolutely know that I'm always talking about following your fears and shining light on your fears, because fears absolutely give us so much value. There is so much gold to be mined in our fears and identifying them and facing them, because they ultimately shine light on what we value most in our lives. And I really want to, I'll talk more into that in the upcoming Facebook Live. If you guys are interested, let me know if you want me to talk more about fear and why it's valuable. But definitely, Gabrielle, thanks so much for your comments here. And George and Renee, and thank you, Sam. You're liking the earrings. And Ashton's here. Awesome to see you. And Elle and Jeremy and Safon. Thank you for your kind words there, Safon. And Gabrielle, thank you for your kind words. I so appreciate you guys. And Mitik and Rondi and Edward and Hildy, yes, authentic and love it. Loving that you're loving it, Hildy. And really, guys, that was my message for you guys today. I hope that when you are faced with a decision, you are going to slow down for a moment and you're going to ask yourself, what is it? Is this coming from fear or is this coming from love? And if you're unsure about what direction to take, ask, what would love do? Or what would my higher self do? And if you're really uncertain, you really need to go on that self-discovery journey of discovering who you are. Start with what you value most. What is most meaningful to you? Because when you can identify your values, you've got your greatest filtering process to filter all of your decisions through. And particularly if you know where you want to get to, where is an inspiring life for you? If you identify and have clarity over what that is, decisions become so much easier. So do the work now so that you can have the freedom later in all of your decisions, and continue that journey, you know, because like I said, we're always constantly evolving and growing and shifting and changing, and we need to have our finger on the button as to who we are and who we're growing into and what shifts and changes for us, so that we can remain totally authentic and aligned to the truth of who we are. And yes, Sam, yes, next time talk more about fear and freedom. Absolutely. Thanks for letting me know. That would be valuable to you. And Stephen, thanks for joining. I hope you catch the recording and get a ton of value from today's message, and anybody else who's just joined. But guys, I am absolutely sending you all of my love, light, blessings, gratitude, energy, enthusiasm, everything extraordinary coming to you to wherever you are in the world today. I hope it's beautiful and it's amazing. I'm here in beautiful Warrnambool. It's kind of really overcast today, but I am loving being down on the beach. I might do a beach video for you guys tomorrow. And there's a beautiful wallaby just right outside my window today, so I love it down here. There's so much wildlife. I don't know if you guys can hear the birds in the background, but I'm loving it. I'm soaking it all up. It's nice to sometimes come away from the city and soak up nature. So much love to you, Sam, and I will see you guys tomorrow, sending you all my love.